You entrepreneurs. Today we have Maria R. She is in charge of the K-9 Guardians Foundation. She kind of tells a gripping story of how a couple years ago she wanted to make a difference. She talked to her boss here, partnered up with him, and they really started a nonprofit foundation. If you're looking to start your own nonprofit, or if you want to help out some dogs out there, because I know a lot of you guys are dog lovers, please listen, please subscribe, please share. Have a great one.
Welcome to the road to growth, success of an entrepreneur.
We've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with real estate agent Vinny SD.
You entrepreneurs. Today we're here with Maria R. I'm not going to try the last name. I know we joked about that already.
Roque-Lopes, but R's good.
There we go. So you run a nonprofit. You've been doing it for the last 2 years. Before that, you were in the financial field. What brought you to starting a nonprofit? Because that's a fairly big difference, I think, from the financial field to the nonprofit industry, right?
It is a huge difference. Totally opposite side of the board. Finance company. Obviously, I've been here 20 years.
Yeah.
I love the finance industry. We actually do finance, loan servicing, and collections.
Okay.
And then we kind of got to a point where I'm working with the owner, and I've been working with him the whole 20 years.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where we're both passionate animal lovers, dog lovers, and we just kept hearing on the news about working dogs that weren't being outfitted with the equipment that they need to do their job. So after brainstorming and, we go to dinner a lot with each other, we started talking and we said, we need to do something. We want to give back. We want to do something for these animals. So that's where the idea came about to start the K-9 Guardians Foundation.
Wow. So you saw it on the news. You saw how they're getting injured out there.
Dogs were getting shot. They didn't have the proper equipment, a ballistic vest, or they didn't have protective eyewear when they do dog searches.
Yeah.
And the searches could be search and rescue, or it could be K-9 units that use dogs to search for narcotic drugs.
Wow. So
when they're sniffing, they could inhale something, and that's another portion of our organization that comes in. We do medical kits as well. So it's kind of like 3 areas. Yeah. But so when we started seeing that on the news, we said, wait a minute, why aren't these dogs who put their lives on the line just like a police officer does or a first responder, why don't they have the proper equipment? Because if they have that proper equipment, then that handler is going to be able to do their job just as well with that dog, or even better, because they know that K-9's protected.
So I know a lot of people come with the idea, I want to build a business, start a business. And a nonprofit, and especially in that sector that you're looking at, there's probably a lot of red tape. What came from, how did you get to fruition? How did it start? You had the idea, but...
We had the idea. Luckily, the owner of our company, Bob Steinke, he's been in the business industry for 40 plus years. He has a lot of attorney friends. Okay. So, he kind of started asking around because I had no clue. Yeah. You hear nonprofits, oh, what's a nonprofit? And even then, a lot of people don't really know what a nonprofit is. Yeah. And they think, oh, well, it's a nonprofit. We'll just start it and we'll just start raising money or whatever. But no, there's a lot of legal issues involved with the nonprofit. You have to, file your company with the state of California. You need to have a tax ID number. You need to form that foundation. Yeah. And it needs to be, a legitimate nonprofit because, you hear the scams that are going around. Oh, they're a company and they raise all this money. It's like, where's all this money going? Yeah. So we had to really do our research that way. So he did a lot of that. He asked a lot of questions to his friends, and luckily we got the answers that we needed. We didn't really like the answers because then we're going, oh man, this is a huge hurdle. Like this is going to take forever. And we didn't realize there's that much involved. And money too. Yeah. I mean, it's a nonprofit and a lot of stuff is tax deductible, but it costs money to start a nonprofit. Yeah. So once we got that going, that took us probably, I'm not kidding you, maybe 8 months to a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what kept you driving to getting it started? What kept pushing you to go forward?
Yeah, I'd say what kept pushing us is, I'd have to say, the more that we started asking questions and talking to agencies about it. My husband is a former dog K-9 handler as well. Luckily, the agency he was working for, they had their budget. I mean, they had everything for their dogs. But, some agencies don't have that in their budget.
Yeah.
So the ones that, we kind of knew, and my husband started asking some of the other handlers and other agencies, like, well, what do you guys need, or what are you missing? Then that's when we're like, okay, no, we really need to do this. There are agencies out there that don't have the money, so we need to really push forward. We can do this. And the other thing too is Bob Steinke. He's a very wealthy man, so he would joke and say, "I have all this money. I don't know what to do with it. I need to do something." I said, "Well, I wish I had that problem." But
that's a horrible problem to have.
Exactly. But he really wanted to give back. He could easily have banked all that, but he didn't. He said, "I want this to go to these dogs." So that's what really kept us pushing too.
So Bob, he brought the attorneys in. You brought your husband in because of the knowledge. Was there other people that you had to bring in because they maybe had a different knowledge set that could help you achieve this?
I'd say other people, no, not really, just because it is the legal side, and then you have, for the nonprofit, and then you also have the agency side.
Yeah.
So I think we were okay there.
Okay.
And then I kind of came in the middle because, I worked for Bob, but then I also, have my husband who knows the handler side of it. So it wasn't too hard there. It's just getting the nonprofit up and running.
Yeah.
That was, even though I hate to say it's kind of a hurdle, but it is.
So talking about hurdles, okay, starting the nonprofit, what were some of the biggest hurdles or biggest setbacks? And I know Bob has a lot of money and you have a passion for it, so it helped you drive through it, but there had to be some times where you're just like, wow, is this really worth it?
Yeah. I'd say the hurdles would be pain. Like we went about it the right way. We actually hired an attorney, an accountant, to look at this and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to file. This is what you can or can't do. This is where you can do deductions or not do deductions. That's what costs money, because you're talking, a couple $100 an hour for somebody to do this research for you. Yeah, we probably could have done it ourselves, but then you don't want it to be where we do it ourselves and then it comes back a couple months later going, oh, wait a minute, hey, you didn't do this, or you were supposed to file this paperwork and you didn't. That was the hard part. But once we got that established, and paying that money, then it was like, okay, this is smooth sailing. But that's just more in the upfront part. Once you get it settled and they tell you the legal part of it, then it's fine. You already know what you need to do. So
what about and I would think it'd be difficult getting the word out. I know it's for a good cause, yet there's still probably a tough time getting the word out. Has that been difficult?
Actually, you know what? We would joke, because Bob and I would say, why is it so hard to give away money? Because we had originally put a set amount of money in an account, because we opened the bank account under the foundation. And we said, okay, we have all this money in there now. Now, who do we give it to? Who's going to be the recipient, or how are we going to go about doing this? But again, it was through kind of word of mouth. So we started locally. We said, okay, our whole goal was to just do it locally at first. Oceanside, Carlsbad, all North County. And our first was Carlsbad PD. We donated 4 ballistic vests to their agency.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then from there, they did a news piece on us, and the word kind of just got out.
Yeah. So how long ago was that when the piece came out?
So the piece came out November of 2017 was our first donation.
Okay.
And then probably a couple months later, because you have to realize a lot of these agencies that have the K-9 units, they train a lot with other agencies. They'll form up like maybe 3 or 4 agencies will get together and they train maybe once a week. So then they say, hey, we just got these vests, and well, how did you get these vests? Well, this group here, they started a foundation and they donated these 4 vests. And now you got to take these vests can run up to $1,500 per vest. They're not cheap. So they said, oh, well, wait a minute, we need equipment too. Do you think they'd be willing to, help us out? And so that's how it started. And then social media, obviously. I was not on social media. I was years and years ago, maybe like 10 years ago on Facebook. Then I was like, okay, I'm over this. I'm done. I'm not on here. And, Bob kept saying, well, you got to get it on social media. And I said, well, I really don't want to be on social media. That's not my thing. But then I said, no, we need to get the word out. We know we've got this money we can allocate to agencies. So I started an Instagram page. And then once I posted Carlsbad, like, oh, we donated these 4 vests, and you kind of do your hashtags, and then people start reaching out to you.
Oh wow.
And the law enforcement community, even though it's a huge community, it's really a small community.
Yeah.
Because they all kind of know each other somehow, some way. Maybe at a convention they got together, maybe some kind of training somewhere, different counties. So that's kind of how it really started.
Where do you have your Instagram following right now, or how big is it? Is it pretty?
I think right now I'm at, I started maybe the Instagram a year ago, and I'm getting about 1,000 followers.
Okay.
But I get a lot of more through our website.
Oh, okay.
I that's another thing I didn't know how to do. I'm like, how do you put together a website? What the heck? But then again, you see these commercials on TV. Oh, so you could start, GoDaddy or Squarespace or whatever. I said, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
So I put one little one together, and that's really how I started getting people were hitting our website. A lot of hits on our website.
Wow.
A lot. Yeah.
So for yourself in the past, when you were starting out, I know 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, when you got the idea, or maybe someone else is looking to start a nonprofit, what kind of advice have you learned? Have you figured out? What kind of would you give yourself or that person?
Yeah, I think the advice would be do a lot of your research.
Okay.
Not everybody has a lot of money to start up a foundation like that. You can do it. You don't need a lot of money to start. But I'd say if you don't have the money to start up front, you're going to need a lot of time.
Yeah.
Talk to other nonprofits. I would have loved to have done that, but I didn't know of any other K-9 foundations out there.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple back east. I think there might have been one up north, but nobody where I could say like, oh, hey, this is what I want to do and what, So I'd say just reach out if you can, whatever the nonprofit is. Maybe talk to somebody in that field and just ask, hey, how did you go about doing that? Because I've actually had a couple people reach out to me saying, well, I see you do this and that, and we'd love to do this also. We don't have a lot of money, but, and I've talked to them on the phone, and I said, well, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to ask, and you're going to need this much money to start. And this is how much, the equipment costs, because it's not cheap.
Do you have currently any affiliations or any kind of nonprofits that you've been under their wing, or has it been mostly?
No,
Okay.
no, it's been mostly us.
Yeah.
Again, it's been helpful because we had attorneys and accountants on our side who were able to do all that work for us. They did all that research, and they did the grunt work to say,
What's next for you guys? Where are you guys going to take the nonprofit next? What are you big goals?
Yeah.
What plans?
So next, our partner Bob, his health is deteriorating right now. He's not in really good shape. Yeah. He's recovering. He had a really bad fall, but he's mid-70s, and so now it's kind of shifted because he was putting all this money into the foundation, and now he's having to take care of his health.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting into the fundraising, which I didn't think I would really have to do.
Yeah.
But I started doing a little bit of research on that, and I actually had one golf tournament already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Never put one together. I've golfed with my husband every now, just putt around or whatever, nothing big, but I actually put a whole golf tournament together.
Wow. How long did it take you to put it all together?
All together, like seriously, it probably took me about 6 months.
Wow.
Because you have to put in consideration, you need donors.
Yeah.
You need to find a golf course. You need to set a price of how much you're going to charge. You need to solicit people for auction items, because you can't just fork it all. You can't put all that money in yourself. You have to, you're basically asking people for money.
Yeah.
But I think going about the way we did, where, I approach it saying, hey, this is to benefit dogs, and I would tell people, this is how many medical kits we've donated. This is how many ballistic vests we've donated. So then they go, oh, well, that's a great idea. So they're willing to donate. My next thing I'm working on is a dog walk.
Okay.
I want to put a dog walk together. Hopefully, maybe midsummer, towards the end of summer when it cools down. I have a couple places in mind, maybe a winery. There's a winery that I've already talked to that they're willing to let us host a dog walk there. Also a park in Fallbrook I've been in contact with. So if you get dog lovers out there and you post it on social media, if it's for dogs, people will spend money on dogs. So we approach it that way and say, hey, this is, we're raising money for these canines. This is what we're doing. I think we're going to have a really good turnout.
If there's someone that wanted to help the dogs, help your foundation, or just have questions about starting their own nonprofit, what would be the best way maybe to reach out to you, a website or?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me either on Instagram, which is at K-9 Guardians Foundation. K-9 Guardians Foundation. Our website is k-9guardiansfoundations.org. Or my email is maria@k9guardiansfoundation.org.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
but yeah, I mean, I'd be more than willing to give anyone advice, or if they have questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because I wish somebody would have been there for me to
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, people who love dogs,
Yeah.
big animal lovers, they're pretty cool. I mean, they'll talk to you. They'll, they want to ask questions. They want to know more. So, definitely, yeah.
Perfect. Well, do you have, before we finish this, do you have any, what was the last time, the enjoyment you got of giving out the ballistics, the vest? Because I'm assuming you get to see the dogs or the people, because it might be a little different, but is there a story maybe you can leave the listeners with?
Yeah, so our very first donation, when we really happened, like I mentioned, it was Carlsbad PD.
Yeah.
We gave away 4 vests, ballistic vests.
Okay.
They didn't have that. Obviously, they have a budget for it,
Yeah.
but they didn't have money to put those vests on the dogs. You're talking almost $5,000 for 4 vests.
Yeah.
So when we did that, and we were recognized for it, then it's like, okay, this is real. This is really happening.
Yeah.
Even to this day, being 2 years, I have my numbers here. We have donated to 42 different agencies across 14 states.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We have donated a total of, 27 vests, 108 medical kits, which could be an overdose kit, a first aid kit, or a trauma kit. And we've donated 217 pairs of Rex Specs eyewears.
Wow.
So the Rex Specs, I don't know if you've seen the dogs where they look like they have those ski goggles on.
Yeah.
That's what Rex Specs are. And they're not just for looks. They're to protect the eyes.
Yeah.
Our nonprofit has kind of shifted more towards the Rex Specs.
Yeah.
I've had a lot more people reach out to me saying, we want these eye protectants for our dogs.
Yeah.
So we've done that, and I just say, you know what? Just if you're going to do it, give your all. You have to have a passion for it. It's for the dogs.
Well, I appreciate all the time you've given us, Maria. If anyone out there is listening, wants to get back, maybe has a dog, has someone in the military, is looking to start a nonprofit, please reach out to her. She wants to give her time, help you out.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you. Please share, please subscribe, and
please
love
do.
to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Road to Growth, Success of an Entrepreneur. Please like, subscribe, and stay connected. Visit www.vinnySD.com.
Yeah, I created a website.
Hope to see you again next week. Team Vinny SD, signing off.